Hi everybody and welcome to our informational webinar, How to Apply to Teach in the USA with EPI. My name is Jessica and I work as a content specialist for EPI. I am from the mountains of North Carolina and before working for EPI, I taught English at the local community college. Today I will be talking to you about EPI's application process and answering any questions that you might have. You can use the comment box to leave us messages and comments. At the end of our presentation, we will be answering any questions that you leave in those comments. Please don't feel like you have to save your questions to the end. You can leave your comments at any time. So today we will be talking to you about how to apply to teach in the U.S. with Educational Partners International. During this webinar, we will be going over how to start your application, what documents you will need for it, and we will also explain the purpose of your application and give you some tips that will make the application process go as quickly as possible. If you are joining us for the first time, we are Educational Partners International, or EPI for short, and we are a cultural exchange program that brings international teachers to teach in K-12 schools in the United States. Our mission is to bring some of the best teachers from around the world to come to the U.S. to share their cultural experiences. As you can read here, our goal is to strengthen K-12 education by discovering and empowering the world's best international teachers to facilitate authentic cultural exchange. The results include teachers and students that become lifelong learners, embrace 21st century skills, and serve as change agents in an interconnected world of global understanding. While we work with schools across the southern United States, our office is in North Carolina, which is about where that arrow is on the map there. So that's where we are from. Where are you from? Please tell us in the comments. We really would love to know where everybody is from. So now that you have some background on who we are, it is important to understand EPI's process. Our process for bringing teachers like you to the United States looks like this. First, you complete an application so that we know that you are eligible for our program and will be a strong candidate for cultural exchange. The application process includes filling out a thorough online form, uploading official documents, and 2 interviews with EPI team members. After you've completed the application process, you are moved to the approved stage where you interview with principals at one of our partnered schools. Once you have completed a successful school interview, you are placed in the school and become an official EPI program member. So let's take a closer look at the first step, the application process. EPI's application process is thorough, but it does do a few important things for you. First, filling out the application creates a professional profile for school principals to look at when they are considering teachers for interviews. We also use the information you provide on the application to decide whether or not you meet our eligibility requirements. Some of the requirements for being an EPI teacher are that you are currently teaching, you have 2 years full-time teaching experience, and that you have the equivalent of a U.S. bachelor's degree. Finally, the application helps you collect all the documents you will need to get a visa, travel to the United States, and to get a teaching license. So you have read about EPI and our requirements, and you have decided that you want to apply to teach in the U.S. How do you get started? Well, the first step is to go to our website, teachwithepi.com/teachers. Once you are there, you will scroll down until you see the orange button that says click here to apply. Then you will need to answer some questions about your eligibility. After you've answered the questions, click submit, and you will be able to make an account with your email address and start your application. Once you start your application, it is important that you prioritize completing your personal and professional profile as soon as possible. As soon as you complete that personal and professional profile, you will be able to move to the next stage of the application and start collecting your documents. EPI's application requires documentation to be sure that you are able to travel and teach in the United States. So what documents will you need to get in order to complete your application? So here is a list of all the documents you will need to upload to your application before you are eligible for principal interviews. We ask for copies of all pages of your passport, diploma, transcripts, criminal record checks from every country that you have lived in the last 5 years, proof of employment for each teaching position since your bachelor's degree, and a credential evaluation from an NACES approved company. If you have a valid driver's license and wish to drive in the United States, we will also need a copy of your driver's license, but driving is not a requirement for the program. In addition to these documents, you will need to upload certified translations of diplomas and transcripts. You will also need certified translations of your criminal record check if it is in a language other than English or Spanish. When you are first starting your application, you should prioritize the passport pages, diplomas, and transcripts because we will need to see these documents before we can start inviting you for interviews with EPI team members. When uploading your documents, it is important that you make sure the uploads are of good quality so that we can read them. If your uploads are not good quality documents, we will have to ask you to re-upload them, which will make the application process take longer. Your uploaded documents should be scans, not pictures. If you don't have a scanner, we recommend you use the phone app Tiny Scanner for easily getting quality scans of your documents. You will also need to make sure that your scans are full color copies and are easy to read. Easy to read means that the image is not blurry, there is no glare or shadow on the scan, and that the whole document is visible. Also be sure that when you're uploading your documents, you upload them to the correct part of your application. If you upload your documents to the incorrect section, we may not be able to find them, which will make the application process take longer. So one of the most common questions our candidate asks are, how long does the application process take? As we've already stated, the application process does include processing all of your documents and 2 interviews with the EPI team members. So how long the process takes often depends on how quickly you can collect and upload the appropriate documents and how soon you can start doing interviews with EPI team members. So here are some tips on what you can do to make sure the application process goes as quickly and smoothly as possible. First, you should read all of our requirements before you apply. You can find our requirements at teachwithepi.com/teacher requirements. When completing the application, you will need to be sure to read and follow all directions on the application carefully. You will also want to proofread all your answers to make sure there are no typos or mistakes with dates, because those sorts of things can make the process take longer. When you apply to EPI, be sure to upload all of your documents directly to your application. We do not open attachments that are sent through email, so we will only be able to process your documents if they are on the website. Also, when you upload your documents to the website, be sure to click the Save button at the bottom of the page, or else it will not save your documents. Finally, you will need to create your account with a valid email address and check your email regularly. We only discuss your application through email, so it is important that you are looking for emails from EPI about your application status. So now it is time for questions. I'm going to be answering any questions that you have left in the comments. So if you've not yet submitted your questions, ask them now. We also invite you to tell us about yourself. We would love to know what you are teaching and where you are from. It looks like we have already heard from teachers from the Philippines, Zimbabwe, Mexico, and Spain today. So welcome everybody. So to get started, our first question is, who pays for travel? So travel is paid for by a combination of EPI and you. EPI will pay for a portion of your travel costs, and you will be expected to pay for anything above that amount. EPI also does not pay for travel for your dependents, so you should plan to pay for travel for all of your family members. When do the school interviews start? So principals are actively interviewing from April to August. That's what we call placement season. For you personally, school interviews will not start until you get through the application process and are moved into what we call the approved stage. So that means getting through the application process means that you've uploaded every document that we've asked you to upload and that you have completed 2 successful interviews with EPI team members. Our next question is, do I get to choose what state I teach in? So yes, you can indicate to our placement team if you have a preference on what state you want to teach in. However, you will have more opportunities to be placed on our program if you leave your options open. So currently we are working with schools in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Florida, and we do encourage you to be open to all possibilities for placement. Our next question is, what is the deadline for the 2018 placement? So we do not have an application deadline. We accept applications year-round at any time. However, as you've probably gathered from the webinar, the application process is thorough and can take a long time. So we encourage you to start as soon as possible so that your application is finished in time for you to get interviewed before August 2018. Our next question is, how much is the teaching salary? So the teaching salary is going to be dependent on the school district that you are working in. The school district is who decides your salary. EPI teachers are paid the same as a U.S. teacher with comparable experience and education. But that depends on state and district at the same time. So I will be leaving you a link at the bottom with more information on the average amount that an EPI teacher is paid to give you more of an idea. After the credential evaluation, how long do we have to wait for the school interview? So that can vary. What happens is after your credential evaluation and you're moved into approved, the schools will look through all of our applicants and choose who they want to interview. So it just depends on how long it takes for the school to invite you for an interview. All right, our next question is, when does orientation begin? So yes, before you come to before you teach, I should say, before you teach in the U.S., about a month beforehand, you will do an orientation with EPI with some basic things about teaching in the U.S. and living in the U.S. and being an EPI program member. And that orientation runs, we have several orientation sessions, and the first ones are in about mid-July and the last ones are in September. It'll depend on when your personal school year starts, which is any time between August 2018 and September 2018. Is there an age limit? No, EPI does not have an age limit. We accept all applications regardless of your age. So if you meet all of our other eligibility requirements, go ahead and apply at teachwithepi.com. What subjects and grade levels are you looking for? So we are currently accepting applications for all subjects. Go ahead and apply regardless of what subject you're teaching. We do only place teachers in what are American grades, kindergarten through 12th grade. So that's approximately students ages 5 to 18. Okay, our last question for today is a driver's license required? So no, having a driver's license is not required to be a part of our program. We do encourage you to get a driver's license or to upload your driver's license to prove that you can drive if you do want to come to the US, because otherwise you're going to be limited to living in places with good public transportation systems. So we do encourage you to get one. All right, so that's our last question for today. If we did not get to your question or you did not get to ask your question, go ahead and leave it in the comments. We are going to be answering all leftover questions in the comments after the broadcast. So now that you know more about how to apply, let's talk about next steps. First, if you have not applied yet, go to teachwithepi.com and start the application process. If you have started the application but have questions on how to continue, email us at team@teachwithepi.com with your question. Finally, go to teachwithepi.com/webinars to sign up for our future webinars and watch any webinars that we have aired previously. To finish our presentation today, I would like to leave you with this quote as a reminder of why cultural exchange is so important and why we are so eager to bring teachers like you to the United States. J. William Fulbright was a U.S. Senator and the founder of the Fulbright program. He said, "The essence of intercultural education is the acquisition of empathy, the ability to see the world as others see it and to allow for the possibility that others may see something that we have failed to see or may see it more accurately." We are dedicated to helping teachers like you come to the U.S. so that we may learn from each other's unique perspectives, just like Fulbright talks about. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have any further questions, email us at team@teachwithepi.com. Also, be sure to sign up for our webinar mailing list at teachwithepi.com/webinars. Have a good day, everybody.